I'm going to cover several different topics in this video, but they're all going to center around the same thing. I'm going to talk about untouchable people versus people who have nothing to lose, and risk versus benefit. A few weeks back, I watched a video by Junebug Obama about the rapper Jaquan and the paternity fiasco that he went through. If you want a thorough rundown of what Jaquan went through, I would suggest you listen to Junebug Obama's video, but for those of you who ain't got time, I'll give a summary. Basically, Jaquan was a kid who I think was in his late teens when he had a hit record called Everybody in the Club Getting Tipsy, or something like that. Shortly after that, he got accused by some chick of being her baby daddy. Admirably, he stepped up to the plate and started taking responsibility for the child, but not so admirably, he did this without getting a paternity test. And now that I've said that, I'm sure you can tell where this is going. After shelling out thousands of dollars to this chick and also buying her a house, he finds out the child isn't his. Not only did he lose money to her, he also lost his career, because at some point when he was unable to make the payments to her for child support, the courts put him on lockdown, which made him unable to travel, which means he couldn't go on tour and do gigs or even promote his album. So they want this guy to pay, but they won't even let him work. And the worst part about this whole situation, actually I won't say the worst part because the worst part was losing all his money or his career, but I'll say what adds insult to injury is that nothing is going to happen to this chick, as in she doesn't have to pay the money back and she's not going to be prosecuted for anything. If she had defrauded that much money out of anybody under any other circumstances, she would have been under somebody's jail, or at least would have had to pay it back. But since it was a paternity suit, there are no consequences or repercussions. There is no doubt that Jaquan is a victim of this woman. She's a horrible, horrible chick who did a horrible, horrible thing. That said, I can't help but ask why this kid did not get a paternity test. Did he not have a mother, a father, or even a manager to tell him, hey, get a test first? In the age of Maury Povich, there's just no reason not to get a paternity test. I've already made the point in previous videos that whomever is complaining after the dust settles is the person who made the mistake. Or I'll say the person who messed up. You can talk about how she's a horrible bitch all day, but at the end of the day, she didn't lose thousands of dollars. She didn't lose her career. He did. So he's the one who messed up. No, she's the one that messed up because she screwed him over. Yeah, but she's not complaining. I don't hear her going on talk shows complaining about what happened to her. I see Jaquan. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that what she did was not morally wrong and that she's not a horrible person. And I'm not saying that Jaquan deserved this. He did almost everything morally right. But moral victories don't amount to much. And also having the ability to blame something on somebody else doesn't fix your situation. A good example would be some single moms. They like to claim the moral victory because after all, they stayed and raised their kids even though the father ran off. But even with that moral victory, look at how you're living. Possibly having to go on welfare for a while or having to work 2 jobs. And even if you're okay financially, you might be physically or mentally tired from having to raise kids all by yourself. So what is that moral victory getting for you? Pats on the back from other people? Okay, what does that get you? It doesn't convert into anything tangible. You can't put it in the bank and you can't put it on the table to eat. And then for the women who do have financial problems, when you ask them, how come you never have any money, or how come you can't keep your bills covered? And they say something like, well, it's not my fault, the dad won't help me. Well, sure, she can blame it on the dad, but that doesn't help her situation. At the end of the day, she's still struggling. There are too many people out there who take comfort in moral victories and being able to blame it on somebody else. That's why I say that in some situations you have to take morality out of the equation and substitute in what benefits a person. You cannot bank on people doing the right thing. Now, we hope that people will, but don't bank on it. For example, I attended a technical school for a while after I went to Ole Miss, and on registration day they had some laptops out for people to register on. And I guess they figured since the room was full of school employees and that the laptops would never be left alone, that they didn't need to use security wire or anchor them down to anything. But sure enough, some of those laptops came up missing. Now, should they have had to secure the laptops down? No. You're supposed to be able to put your belongings out and nobody is supposed to steal them. But you cannot bank on everybody doing the right thing. Let's say that was a student sitting in the library with their laptop and they got up to use the bathroom just for a few minutes, and when they got back the laptop had been taken. Let's also say that the student needed that laptop for the courses they were taking. It wasn't just a luxury, they actually needed the laptop in order to complete the coursework. When that student goes to class and the teacher asks them, where's your work, where's your laptop? Yes, he can blame not having his work and his laptop on somebody else. They stole it from him. But that doesn't change his situation. He still lacks what it takes to pass that class. And if you want to be absolutely real about it, it really doesn't matter why. Because if you don't get your work done, you're going to get the same F that a student who did have a laptop but didn't do their work gets. An F is an F. Nobody cares why you got it. And if you're living in poverty because you had too many kids by a man who won't help you, you're living in the same poverty as some drunk who drinks all his money away. The only difference between you and him is that your story is a little bit more sympathetic. But the end result is still the same. You're living in poverty. Just like regardless of whether you died of old age or a gunshot wound or AIDS, you're still dead. Sure, some causes of death have less stigma and are more noble, but at the end of the day, the person is still dead. Anyway, back to Jaquan and not being able to depend on people doing the right thing. I don't know when this started. I don't know if it started when a lot of young guys started getting drafted to the NBA or if it was always there, but they started giving classes to new NBA draftees to teach them how to deal with all the women who are going to be coming on to them. This is definitely a situation where you have to look at the benefit to a person rather than morality. Now, these women are not supposed to take advantage of these men, but they will and do. There's too much of an incentive or benefit to getting involved with these men, so they're not going to stop pursuing them. So instead, they let the men know that it's to their benefit to be wary of these women. Also, a lot of times when a person wins the lottery, long lost relatives will come out of the woodwork. People they went to high school with that they didn't even associate with will try to come back and act like they were best friends. They'll get a lot of quote-unquote new friends. And they'll even get letters in the mail from complete strangers giving them sob stories about how they need money so their child can get an operation or so they don't get evicted. Now, should they do all this stuff? No, but can you blame them? I mean, why would they not? They stand to gain some money out of it. And a lot of them know that what they're doing is BS, but they're just throwing out a line to see if they can get a bite. And it's your job to make sure you don't bite. Don't count on others to do the right thing or have your best interest at heart, especially when you have something that other people want, such as money or fame. I don't want my videos to get too long, so I'm going to make another video to finish talking about the topics I said I was going to talk about. I'll put that up tomorrow or in a couple of days.